Greetings, everybody. Thunder, the Desert Shaman. In Sandy Valley, Nevada. You gotta laugh at all this shit that's going on with the Russia thing. I'm telling you. Talk about the theater of the absurd. You got Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer going after Donald Trump and going after Jeff Sessions for supposedly, quote unquote, talking to Russia. Every one of these guys, Flynn, Sessions, their big fucking crime was talking to Russia. Excuse me, when is it a crime to talk to Russia? When is it a crime to talk to Putin? Especially if you're a freaking diplomat. Is there something wrong with this picture here? Can people see how absurd this is? How utterly fucking absurd it is? To sit there and go, well, hey, you talk to somebody in Russia or you talk to an ambassador. Well, of course you fucking do. These diplomats talk to all kinds of people. They talk to ambassadors and diplomats in all kinds of countries. China, Indonesia, Pakistan, Libya, all these countries are somebody that these diplomats talk to. Why? Because it's their fucking job. That's why. And so you got these fucking moronic, utterly moronic idiots like Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi looks like a druggie if I ever saw one. She looks like a pill popper. And I bet she does. I bet she's into all kinds of prescription drugs, along with Dianne Feinstein. You ever take a look at their eyes, the way they're askew and kind of staring off into nowhere? And Chuck Schumer, I never liked that motherfucker. Why? Because he's always been for gun control, and his agenda is, he's a Jew, number one, and he's probably the biggest lobbyist, okay, for the Jewish state that there is. It's all rather absurd. Everything is turned upside down. Just like I said it would when the elections, when Trump won the elections. I told you that the deep state would go to any lengths to sabotage Trump, to sabotage the new administration. And I've already talked about how they've infiltrated and tried to subvert his cabinet, which they have done. It's really hilarious. It is really the theater of the absurd. I don't care how you look at it. I don't care if you look at it like Trump's a bad guy or a good guy, or he's this and he's that. He's going to do this and he's going to do that. I have never seen anything so fucking absurd in all my life as these people. And they're making themselves look ridiculous. They're shooting themselves in the foot. It's like they pulled out a Colt 45 and cocked it, and before they could get it up to fire it, they shot themselves in the freaking foot. And that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. And then the latest thing is I saw, now they're trying to accuse the Russian ambassador of being a spy. The Russian ambassador. And CNN is on the forefront of this little trick. And they tried to interview that lady from Russia that is the, I think she's the equivalent of Sean Spicer, the press agent or something. She just looked at him and said, "You people are so ridiculous. You're spreading lies and propaganda, and you are fake news." She just took a playbook, a page right out of the playbook of Donald Trump. You're fake news. It's I never thought I'd see. It's akin to McCarthyism. Back in whenever it was, the 50s or whenever it was, when Senator Joseph McCarthy went after supposedly quote unquote communists and communist connections and the Red Connection, and raked all kinds of people over the coals. I'm saying everybody. I'm talking everybody from movie stars to politicians to everybody. Trying to yank them in before some kind of witch hunt. That's what this is. This is a witch hunt, That's the word that's being used now. It's a witch hunt. It's like in, back in the old days when they had these guys that were heads of these little villages. I forget what they call them, but they would, the judges or whatever, would go after supposed young girls because they were supposed witches, when really all they wanted to do was get them in an inner chamber and fuck them or have some kind of sex with them or do something like that. And then, of course, they burned them at the stake after that. So I digress a little here, but this is what this is akin to. This is what this reminds me of. It's like demonization, okay? It's a demonization of Russia. It's amazing, really. Again, why would it be a crime? Would it be a crime for me to call up Russia and talk to some chick over there? Or would it be a crime for me to mention that? See, that's what it's getting to be. If you, they're trying to demonize things so bad that if you were, say, in a conversation with somebody at the supermarket or the coffee shop or something, you happen to mention that you like Putin or Russia, you'd be immediately labeled a fucking traitor to the country. And in fact, it's just the opposite. It's just the opposite. That's how insidious these people are. This is typical deep state, deep covert ops, black ops propaganda. See, the thing is, though, is that they're overplaying their hand. They're overplaying their hand. How stupid do you have to be, or how smart do you have to be in America, as a citizen of America, to see that this is just getting a little bit ridiculous when every other thing is Russia did it? If you went to the restaurant and you didn't like the way your meal was prepared, why not blame it on Russia? If your wife treats you bad, well, she must have been reading some kind of Russian propaganda. That's how silly this shit is. It's the theater of the absurd. And why are they doing it? Well, I'll tell you why. Because they don't want Putin and Trump to get together. They don't want Trump to mend fences with Putin. They want the globalists want us to be on the precipice of a nuclear holocaust. They want to, they would love to do a first strike on Russia. They would love to, they think they're so crazed, and I've done videos about this before. They're so crazed, they're so crazy, they're so psychotic that they actually think that maybe a limited nuclear war is possible, or maybe a war with Russia on some kind of front, with NATO and shit. We're on Russia's borders. We're on Russia's borders. And like I said before, how would the U.S. like it? How would our country like it? When I say our country, I'm even almost ashamed to say that. People out there but how would our country like it if Russia came into Mexico and came into Canada? somehow and put missile batteries all along the border. Well, that's exactly what the fuck's happening with Russia. You think they like that shit? How long do you think they're going to take this? How long do you think that Putin and not just Putin, but how about the hardliners in the Duma, okay, in Russia, how long do you think that they're going to tolerate this kind of bullshit, okay? Putin is, he's a strategist, like I've said in past videos. He's a supreme strategist. He doesn't bite at the bait. He doesn't get upset about anything. He just looks at it. Basically, they're looking at things and just chuckling about it, laughing about it, like, Jesus Christ, unbelievable that Trump gets into office and because he said he wanted to normalize relationships with us, that they're like a wild dog pack. They're like a wild wolf pack, these Democrats. And I'm saying they are led by the Democrats, the Dems, and the left, the people on the left, who up until this point, in times past, the Democrats and the left were always anti-war, but not really, when you think about it. But that's what they were perceived as. Liberals, not wanting to go to war, not wanting to get involved in any kind of violence. But now what do you see? Well, you see just the opposite. You see these left protesters, these leftists, these protesters, these women's groups, this Black Lives Matter, this and that, blah, 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 blah. They're all turning violent. They're all turning violent. Every time you have a protest with any of these groups, it ends up where cars are burned and people are pummeled and tear gas canisters have to be fired at them, and they destroy private property. These are supposed to be the new age love and light type people. What the fuck happened here? There's been a big flip-flop, baby. There's been a big flip-flop. Everything is turned on its head. Everything is turned upside down. Everything is chaotic. Chaos rules supreme in this country now. And it very could likely lead to a civil war here. Because these people that are egging these protest groups on and using these protest groups are not going to stop anytime soon. I hear huge demonstrations, they're trying to pump money into and orchestrate huge demonstrations for this summer. They're trying to impeach Donald Trump, is what they're trying to do. Because they lost their power, you see. They lost their power, so to speak. They have a rogue in the White House, and they need to take him down in any way they can. And they'll try to impeach him. They'll try to, trump up some kind of allegations. They tried everything so far, haven't they? I mean, think about it. They've tried sexual allegations. They tried before the election. They've tried making issues about his tax return. I mean, everything. And here you have Hillary, who is a butcher, okay, and a fucking murderer. Now here's another little piece of the pie. Obama didn't go to Hawaii like he planned on doing, supposedly. No, he got a big mansion in Washington, D.C. And he's got some woman named Valerie Jarrett, who was on his campaign team or something, actually moved into his house, and they're putting together a new coalition, okay, to attack Donald Trump, to cause civil unrest. An ex-president, okay, getting involved in undermining a new president, getting involved in taking the new president that just replaced him down. Now, don't you think that's just a little bit fucking strange? Have we ever seen this before? Have we ever seen where a president leaves and does a 180? Supposedly he was nice to Trump and they had nice conversations and all that. What a two-faced bitch Obama is. He's a two-faced bitch, okay? And now he's like turning on Trump and trying to undermine the government, trying to undermine the administration by forming some new coalition. I forget the name of it, and I don't even want to mention it because I don't even if I did know, I don't want to give any power to it. But he's in bed with George Soros and all these people. Now, here's another thing. Why is Obama doing this? Well, he could be under investigation for some huge slush fund. Okay. I'm telling you, these Democrats are about as crooked and as evil and as the biggest lawless thieves. They're basically gangsters. They're basically a gang member, making secret slush funds so that they can give them out to different groups so that they can protest and so that they could do this and do that. Using taxpayers' money, okay? Using our money, the taxpayers, to foment a revolution and a civil war. How does that set with you? How does that set with you? I think it's basically the most traitorous act that you can pull against the American people. I think Trump does need to take the gloves off. I think he needs to fight like the bloodied warrior he could possibly end up being. He needs to fight. I don't care if they take him down. He needs to fight going down. But you know what? It's going to cause a civil war. That's my take on it. It's going to cause such division in our society against the people that just want jobs. They just want a president in there that's going to give them jobs. They just want somebody that's going to keep peace around the world. They just want somebody that doesn't spend shitloads of money on warfare and going to war in other countries, trying to take down sovereign governments and their leaders. This has got to end, people, and I'm telling you right now, this is what I see. China and Russia were kind of like, okay, let's wait until this new administration comes in and let's see what happens. Let's see maybe if we can work with them. Let's see if they'll ease up on their bullshit, on their, we're the exceptional country in the world and everybody should kowtow to us. Because that was not what Trump's rhetoric was during the campaign. It was, yes, we want to be a strong government, but we don't want to interfere in other people's rulership or sovereignty. But as soon as he gets in, these people like that he's got in certain offices like Mad Dog Mattis, that doesn't bode very well, does it? A guy named Mad Dog at the head of the nuclear switch, the red button. That's comforting, isn't it? A guy named Mad Dog. Okay. But anyway, China and Russia were taking a wait-and-see attitude about, well, you know, when the new administration gets in, maybe we can work with them and maybe we can iron all this shit out. Well, that ain't happening, people, because as soon as the new administration got in, Trump's cabinet and Trump's people that he has in the different places like the Pentagon and Secretary of Defense and all that, took a tack of like, let's keep hard line, or even let's get more hard line. And you don't want to push China around, really. You don't want to push Russia around. And that's what they're doing. It's the same old thing in the South China Seas. That's not getting any better, people. And it's the same thing in NATO. It's the same ball game, only a different coach, okay? See, the thing is that they changed coaches, but they didn't change teams, okay? I mean, even if they did change teams, they're the same. They're cut from the same cloth as the old team. No, you need to bring guys in that aren't of that old team. You need to bring people in like Tulsi Gabbard, the senator. I think she's a senator from Hawaii, who just brought up or penned a bill in Congress to stop funding terrorists, for our country to stop funding terrorists, because she just took a trip to Syria, talked to Assad. She knows the whole thing about how USA created the Islamic threat, okay? It got out of hand, basically. They created the Islamic threat over there so that they could overthrow Assad, so that they could take him out, so that they could get the resources and the pipeline and all that bullshit. But what happened was ISIS kind of got out of control. You can't control a bunch of friggin' mercenaries, Eastern half-crazed, crazy fuck mercenaries. Are you kidding me? I don't care if you're the CIA or the Pentagon or whoever. You can create something like that, but can you control it? Well, fuck no. You can't control something like that. It's going to get out of hand, and that's exactly what has happened. Yeah, so this whole Russian bashing thing, this whole thing is just, like I said, it's the theater of the absurd. And it really just goes to show you how crazy, how utterly crazy this mainstream media is. You got to listen to people like me. You know, I don't understand why I'm not getting more subscriptions here. And I don't understand why people are not passing this around. And maybe they are. But maybe YouTube is, they're already geared up. YouTube is, and Google and LinkedIn and all these social sites are already being affected by the deep state, by these same motherfuckers that are trying to brand us as the fake news rather than them, and trying to stop certain websites into trying to instill algorithms in the software that crawls through these different social medias and finds out if people are saying certain things about the government, or basically if they're telling the truth. They don't want truth out there. So it's really, not only is it a battle, a political battle, but it's a battle for the hearts and minds of people from the YouTubers like myself, as opposed to the mainstream media. So you should be spreading this video out there far and wide. It doesn't matter whether, you know, what kind of personality I am. All that matters is that I am part of the alternative press, and I am an author. And I'm in there to help these people, these other YouTubers that have many, many more subscriptions than I do. But every little bit helps, people. Every little bit helps to get truth out there as to what was really going on, so that these American people can be informed. Because truth is essential right now. Truth is the only thing that's going to save what's going on. For people to wake up and hear truth and recognize truth, as opposed to all this psychobabble bullshit about Russians and Trump and this and that, and oh my God, it's just so horrible. I love that, just as a final note, I love that Trump is fighting back. He is taking the tack now where he's posting pictures of Pelosi and Schumer with pictures when they met with Putin, pictures of them with Putin and pictures of them with Russian ambassadors, and saying, well, I guess we should start an investigation into Pelosi and Schumer because they talked to so-and-so. He's just he's not serious about trying to have an investigation into them, but he's just showing the people how absurd it is. He's just getting involved in the theater of the absurd and playing a little role and saying, well, shit, God, I guess if it's bad for us to be talking to Russians, then he puts up these pictures on Twitter of Pelosi and Schumer and these people when they were actually talking to Russians. And see, that's how absurd it is. That's how absurd. It's okay for them to do it, but if anybody in the Trump administration has ever done it, well, Jesus Christ, they're traitors. They're controlled by Russia. We won't even mention the fact that Hillary made billions of dollars in a deal with Russia a while back for uranium. No, we won't even mention that. We don't want to bring that up. So yeah, it's absurd, and so the agenda here is not to just take Trump out. It's to regain control for the globalists and to continue on with their hateful fucking agenda of trying to possess everybody and everything in the world. It ain't gonna happen, people. It's not gonna happen. There's too many people starting to wake up. And they'll wake up more if you spread this around. So anyway, I'll leave it there today. I'm going to go out and enjoy the day in the desert here. It's beautiful 70 degrees and not too much wind. So I think I might go out on my Harley. Don't know. Anyway, I'm out of here. Adios.